How many of you know about Madison Square Garden? How many of you heard about Madison Square Garden? Right. We are a lot more than a venue. Obviously, some of you heard about us as the world's largest venue. We are a lot more bigger than that. We are a world leader in live sports and entertainment. We own some of the prestigious brands out there in NBA, NHL, and in live arena. We were originally part of Cablevision. We were spun out of Cablevision in 2010. At this point, we are a $1.3 billion company, and we have about 1,300 employees worldwide. We own some of the legendary franchises in the sports industry in about New York area. We own New York Knicks. Most of you have heard about New York Knicks, I suppose. Any fans here? Thank you. Thanks for your patronage. New York Knicks obviously has been one of the original franchises of NBA, has been around since 1946. A lot of history there. Rangers, one of the original 6 in NHL, has been around since 1926. Liberty was one of the original WNBA franchises. We also own Knicks. We own Westchester Knicks. We own Hartford Wolfpack. And we recently acquired a share in Counterlogic Gaming. Anyone here heard about League of Legends? E-gaming, League of Legends? Great. I don't understand how you get to go and see a bunch of kids playing and everyone is watching them. But this is a big thing. This is a big thing for us. This is a good thing for us to actually connect with millennials. We recently acquired this company as well. We own some of the iconic venues, both in New York and across the US. We obviously own New York Madison Square Garden. We have presence in other areas of New York City. We own Beacon Theater. We own Radio City Rockettes. In Chicago, we own Chicago Theater, LA Forum. We recently acquired a stake in Tao, which is a lifestyle brand as well. All across our venues in the US, we have roughly about 750 live events in any given year, and we cater to about more than 3 million fans coming through our arenas every single year. In live entertainment, we own Radio City Rockettes. It's a prestigious brand for us. It's an original production. Radio City Rockettes have been performing since 1925. More than 250 live performances every given year, and we have more than 1 million guests watching them every single year. We also own a controlling stake in both in Tribeca Film Festival as well as Boston Calling. Here are some fun facts about the company itself. When did Madison Square Garden open? Does anyone know? 1879. Imagine that. We have been around since 1879, Madison Square Garden. Does anyone know what Knickerbockers mean? Knickerbockers is a pet name for Knicks. It stands from a Dutch, it's a mnemonic from a Dutch settlers in New York. Apparently they used to wear their pants right above their knees. They were called Knickerbockers. And now it's the name for Knicks. Anyone here have been to Rockettes show? Here we go. Do you know how high Rockets can kick? Eye high. They are able to kick eye high. What's the most valuable team in NBA? New York Knicks. New York Knicks is currently valued at $3.3 billion by a survey from Forbes. What's so special about Rockettes? Rockettes are this amazing dance performance group. They have heels. Their heels are custom made to actually fit a sound transmitter within their heels, so that when they tap dance, everybody in the audience can clearly hear their taps. They have mics literally in their shoes. My team is responsible for digital engineering and online presence of Madison Square Garden. At this point, we are responsible for web applications. We are responsible for mobile applications. We are in the process of building Alexa skills. We are in the process of building chatbots that we would like to deploy for our fans. It's a reasonably small team. When I started with this company about a year ago, we were a team of 5. Right now, we are about 30 people. My team is roughly comprised of software product owners. So these are folks who sit down with the business. They're looking at strategic priorities for the business over a multi-year period. They're looking at tactical priorities for the next quarter, and they're creating product roadmaps for the engineering team. We have full stack engineers. Full stack engineers we hired who are proficient in JavaScript. We have DevOps engineers who are good at maintaining and enhancing our infrastructure. And we have software engineers in test who are continuously looking at our software and figuring out ways to automate the testing of it. We have one mission. Our mission is to innovate and automate. Fan experience for Madison Square Garden actually starts before you are in the venue. It starts right when you're looking for a given event. So we think of digital as a gateway to fan experience. And once they are in the venue, we want to make their experience memorable so that they can relive that moment time and again. This company has a lot of challenges as far as digital is concerned. So these were some of the challenges we had when we got started off about a year ago. First and foremost, operational efficiencies. We put out a lot of live events. Live events has a lot of manual elements that that the team has to work with in order to create an event. Imagine putting up an Adele show. There are 3,000 people involved in a given single show. So there's a lot of manual elements involved in putting up live shows. Secondly, we had stagnant experiences. Most of our user experiences, like websites, were built over a period of 7 or 8 years. They were stagnant, they were not responsive, they did not have analytics that help us understand who are the visitors for these websites, how are they interacting, how are they transacting, how are they converting. Next challenge we had is competition for attention. Most of these artists that work with our venues are actually using social media in very, very, very unique ways to reach out to the fans and keep the fans engaged. And we were competing against all of these famous artists. Fan frustration. Surely there are a lot of places for all of us to go and buy tickets. Ticketmaster is one of them, and I can name 10 of them. But there is no good place for people to understand, hey, if I want to take my kids to a family show, where do I go? What are the best seats available in the arena for me to take my friends or family or so on and so forth? So although there are good places to buy tickets, there are not a lot of good sources to tell us a lot about venues. Low partner value. Madison Square Garden actually partners with marquee. We have several marquee partners. Lexus is a big partner for us. Chase is a big partner for us, and we are in the process of signing up several other big marquee partners. We lack good place for actually showcase the partners across our digital properties. Last but not least, and my favorite one, about a year ago, we had 67 different websites for this company. They were built over a period of 7 or 8 years. They were running on physical infrastructure, which has not been updated. We found operating systems which were not updated. Application software that was completely unsupported, and 4 different content management systems that were powering all of these websites. And no in-house team whatsoever to support them. So as I said, my team is also responsible for in-venue experiences as well. We look at technologies that will help enhance fan experience in venue, and here are some of the things we are working for. First and foremost is mobile ticketing. Very soon, the physical ticket that you have to carry to a venue like Madison Square Garden will be a thing of the past. We are converting one by one all of our venues into a mobile ticketing. So you will have your ticket in your app, whatever app that is, and you will be able to seamlessly transfer your ticket to your family or friends or whosoever using your app. We are working with our ticketing partners, and we are investigating things like blockchain technology to make sure that that can be safely and securely done. Because as you can imagine, physical tickets are prone to fraud. We are deploying technologies that will allow us to engage with our guests better and more digitally as well. We are deploying beacons in all of our venues that will give us ability to specifically push notifications for them for specific parts of the arena. This can be, hey, go get your burger. There are no more lines here. We have apps right now that will allow guests in our arenas to do in-seat ordering. You no need to go out and stand in the line. Someone will get your food for you if you order through your app. And we are also deploying a wayfinding technology. Very soon, you will be able to see inside of our venues and cool things like, have you been to Nick's locker room? I was able to see only from far, but if you go in a few days, you'll be able to see that right from Google Street View, how the inside of the locker room would look like. Let me show you one interesting piece of technology that we deployed. We call this crowd selfie technology. This is very advanced cameras that we deployed in Madison Square Garden. We're in the process of deploying across the venue. What you saw there gets you a 360-degree view of the garden in a few seconds. Then we show it to the fans. They can go and tag themselves after the game. They can share that with their friends and family, and they can relive that moment. That particular one was delivered for Rangers. We get a lot of useful fan data from our platforms like this. So about a year ago, we started off with this journey of transforming how this company thinks about digitally. These were some of the goals that we had for the technology team. Our first and foremost goal, there was a lot of legacy architecture that we wanted to get rid of, so the first biggest goal was to modernize the technology architecture. Then we actually wanted to fundamentally build organizational capabilities and change organizational culture. There was never an in-house technology team here which did application development in-house. We wanted to change that. Rather than outsourcing everything, we started developing in-house talent and culture. We wanted to use cloud-based infrastructure. There were a lot of legacy physical servers still the company had and data centers that we had. We said, absolutely not doing that anymore. We have to do everything in the cloud. And last but not least, we said, hey, no longer are we going to do 6-month project or 8-month projects. We want to deploy software and features quickly. We want to do that in rapid iterations. We want to do it in a way that enhances value to our customers every single week or even 2 weeks in a rapid cycle for building, testing, and releasing as well. As a part of the digital team, my team looks at each and every single part of our fan journey, right from Inspire. What are you looking for? Do you want to go to a show this weekend with your family because you have time? Or do you really want to go and see Bon Jovi? Either of those cases, you're ending up on Google, and we want to serve you better. We want to serve the fans in a way that we are right in the center when they are actually looking to get inspired to go somewhere as a live event. Once the fan makes a choice for an event, we want to make sure that they understand that that is the right thing for them. If they're going to the garden, we help them understand, saying, hey, here are the right seats for you. Here's the right time to go to the venue. Once they actually decided that that is the event that they want to go, we want to make the purchase path very simple and clear to them and intuitive to them and reduce as much friction as possible. At the end of the day, we want the transactions to happen as quickly and as less friction possible. Once they are in the venue, we want to use technology to actually make sure that the experience they have is great. Things like e-ticketing, things like engagement technologies that you just saw. And once it is done, we are building technology that will help fans relive the movement, to share that movement with their friends and say, hey, I've been there, to make that movement very memorable for them. So when we started off, here are the fundamental building blocks of our technology. The first and the foremost thing, as an architectural principle, we always wanted to use modern frameworks. So we decided on the front end, we started building using React and Redux. On the back end, we built an open API using Node, built to standards using Swagger. For the content management framework, company already made an investment in using WordPress. So we are using WordPress as a content management framework versus publishing. Very soon, we're actually deploying search technologies using Amazon Cloud, and we are also getting into personalization. And here we are doing things like recommending the right events based on your user profile, both on anonymous and known user profiles using platforms like Salesforce. As far as deployment architecture and deployments is concerned, we are heavily on AWS. We use advanced services from AWS like ALB. All of our applications are Dockerized, so we use ECS and ECR. As far as web is concerned, we are investing pretty heavily on Nginx. We use CloudFront for CDN, WAF for Amazon WAF for traffic filtering, and we use Terraform for everything. We believe in deploying infrastructure as a code, and we are heavily investing in Terraform as well. For CI/CD, we use pretty industry standard tools, GitHub and Jira. For build management, we are using Jenkins, and for quality management of our products, we are using Sonar. And we are using AppDynamics to monitor about 7 layers right from real user performance to actual databases as well. Here are the rough project timelines. We believe in delivering everything fast. We had the digital transformation business case approved right about start of the year in January. We were able to launch our first public API in February of 2007. Anyone going to developer.msg.com, again, that's developer.msg.com, that's where you get the public API. It gives you real-time information on the events that are available across the board in Madison Square Garden, seat availability, who are the artists playing, and so on and so forth. We started building our front-end React applications based on that API. We were able to quickly iterate and launch the first MVP. We launched a bunch of sales tools as a foundational aspect of this platform in about May. We iterated on it, and by V1, we were able to launch the first website on this entire platform. It is at Madison's MSG.com. We launched it in September 2017. By doing so, we were able to shut down about 80% of the legacy websites that we have. We're continuously iterating on this platform. We have another version coming to the end of the year where we're deploying advanced things like search. And by early next year, we hope to be able to in a place where we are able to recommend the right events based on profiles to our customers. We believe in a continuous delivery model. We took Scrum to the core level. Our product owners, software product owners work with our business stakeholders to build product roadmaps. Our engineering team sits down with the product owners and the business teams every single week. They're looking to prioritize, and we deliver software every 2 weeks. Our sprints are always 2 weeks long, irrespective of which team it is, and the engineering team works closely with the UI and UX teams, as well as the testing teams to make that happen. Every 2 weeks, we have a release happening, and we deliver features to our fans. Okay. Here is where AppDynamics comes in. Prior to using AppDynamics, we were using one of their famous competitors. When we started using them, when we started looking at it, we were using that competitor only for one thing and one thing only, which is synthetics. We used that competitor to help us gain understanding of how the websites were performing with the synthetic transactions across 2 or 3 or 4 regions. With AppDynamics, we started off with, we have a bunch of things that we were able to unlock. One, we are using synthetic monitoring from AppDynamics to monitor all of our web applications as well as APIs from 5 different locations in the US for every 5 minutes. You're using AppDynamics to monitor real user performance across the US. We are able to go down to as level of details as DOM load time across Android versus iOS versus web. We are using real user monitoring. We are using AppDynamics for application monitoring. We have deployed their agents for Node, which is where most of our applications are based on, to get deep insights of the applications itself. We are using AppDynamics for service endpoint monitoring. We have deployed them to actually monitor the transactions on our APIs that are publicly available. We're using them for good old things like managing and understanding our EC2 instances, things like memory, things like disk space, and so on and so forth. We're using them to monitor our databases as well. Most of our databases are actually based in Mongo. We use the database monitoring agents as well. We are using them to monitor the logs across our applications to understand patterns and recognize problems before they actually become issues for us. Here is a sample dashboard that we built. This is a custom dashboard that we built for a platform that was deployed about a week ago. This is a platform. This is a dashboard for MadisonSquareGardenCompany.com. On the right there, on this end, you can see that that is a response time graph. You can see that graph spiking quite a bit when we actually launched the platform. So we built this custom dashboard along with our partners in AppD. We were able to see that the application performance was a little bit choppy to start with, and by using this deep dashboard, we were able to quickly understand what the problems were and smooth it out so that you can see the smooth graph at the end of it. So this is a dashboard, again, for a web. We built it specifically to suit our needs. This clearly tells us where we're getting the traffic from across the US, response times across the web application, and how the application is generally responding across various different browsers. Here's a different dashboard that we built for an API that we have. This gives us a deep view into real-time calls that we're getting on our API. Again, the API has been very recently deployed. It tells us how the calls are actually flowing from the API endpoints right to our caching layer, which is Redis, to our actual database, which is Mongo. It gives us a real-time view into how the API calls are performing, which calls are slow, if any, so that our DevOps team can quickly go and diagnose problems. The journey so far, this is specifically with AppD, we started off doing a small POC with them. We started off with the POC right about end of last year. We did a POC on a very specific website to understand how the technology would help fit into our ecosystem. We had very, very specific needs. We are a small team. We wanted to have one tool that would work for us rather than having a suite of tools that we have to rely on. We wanted to make sure the technology itself is easy to understand because we wanted business users to start using these dashboards. We wanted a technology that we can easily implement rather than taking ages to implement. So we did that POC with that specific goals in mind. At the end of the POC, we were very impressed by what we saw, and we started deploying the technology. We chose a SaaS-based model because we were not going to put anything in prem. Implementation, for the actual implementation itself, we chose AppDynamics as a partner for us. They helped us get across the board implementation done pretty quickly using the in-house resources they have. Right now, we have AppD installed on our APIs. We have AppD installed on all of our public websites. The team is pretty stable at this point. We have the working dashboards, and every single week we look at the dashboards, we tune the dashboards, and we figure out what's working for us, and we make it more and more relevant. Lessons learned. The first thing for us is was understand what your customer is. Obviously, the customer for an API is completely different from a customer for the website. API customers, you're looking at performance, you're looking at number of hits. Your end users for your website are across the board. You're looking at mobile devices, you're looking at performance, end-to-end page load for them. So understand who your customer is and what is it that will make their life better. Second thing we found is AppDynamics has got a lot of self-service resources. They have very good portal, they have education that is available for our DevOps teams to go and understand the product itself. The next biggest thing for us is to encourage business adoption. We created dashboards that I just showed you that were very user-friendly so that our business partners can actually go use. Some of our business partners, in my case, are actually using the dashboards to understand the performance of the application on a real-time basis. Next thing we found is AppD innovates very fast. When we started off with them late last year, the Docker support, for example, was not really native to the agent. 3 months later, they came out with a native support for Docker on the machine agent, and we were thrilled. And account reps rock. I have my account reps here. I'd like to give a shout out for them. Raise your hand, guys. Akshat and Dan. These guys rock. I've worked with a lot of service companies for a while. I keep still working with a lot of service companies. My account reps, after the sale is done, they never show up till the renewal is due. That's not the case with them, right? And that is one thing I definitely like with them. If I have a problem, I'm calling them up, I'm emailing them. If I have a question, if I need something, they are there for me. They're never telling me, hey, go and raise a service ticket, someone else will come and address you. What do we want to do in future? We obviously want to take the technology and we want to make it more and more relevant for our business purpose. So my DevOps team is starting to look at, hey, how do we take the information from AppDynamics and actually make it customer-facing or fan-facing? So the simple thing we want to do is to put a public status page out. Most of the companies, you name it, Twitter, Slack, and so on and so forth, have public status pages. So we're going to create public status pages, pulling the information out of the platform, making it user-friendly. So if we do have problems, our internal as well as external customers know about them before they actually become frustrated with the issue. We are using their platform to create real-time alerts. Again, we're a very small company. DevOps team is a very small thing for us. We're growing, but we're a very small company. We're using their platform and we're using another partner to get relevant information out of their platform, and we are finding a way to actually send SMS alerts to our DevOps team so that we don't need to have 24/7 monitoring for the dashboards, for example. We're releasing software every 2 weeks. That makes a lot of releases. We want to understand how are things going in terms of business volume, in terms of performance. So we want to start using the features in the AppDynamics platform to compare releases within our own application software, and we want to figure out how whatever releases we are doing is actually impacting the end customer. Last thing we want to do is to start using the technology for mobile applications. We have a few mobile applications that we are in the works right now. We have a very big Nix application that we're actually going to start deploying the technology for.